Coming up tonight on Primetime Local News, the Salvation Army is looking for volunteers to ring bells for their Christmas kettles. Plus, a Lakeland student has organized a winter clothing drive, and the Rustlers have a perfect record to start the season.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Lane Hoffert. 2 people were killed in a collision at the intersection of Highway 17 and Highway 3 near Allcurve on Saturday. RCMP say a car and truck collided around noon. The driver of the truck, a 71-year-old Lloydminster man, died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. An adult male passenger was taken to hospital with serious injuries. A passenger in the car, a 27-year-old man from Lloydminster, was declared dead at the scene. The driver of the car, an adult male, was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. RCMP continue to investigate. The Lloydminster Salvation Army is beginning their Christmas kettle campaign this Wednesday. This year they are looking to raise $80,000. With the campaign fast approaching, the Salvation Army is looking for volunteers to ring the bells at the kettles set up at businesses around Lloyd.
We need approximately 1,200 hours filled on our Christmas kettles this year, so we need all the help that we can get. If people can give, volunteer for 10 hours throughout the Christmas kettle campaign, 2 hours at a time, it would be a great help to us in reaching our goal.
Major Jennings hopes to see people donate to help those who are less fortunate, not just in Lloyd, but all over the country during the Christmas season.
Organizations depend on the generosity of people at Christmas time, and so the Salvation Army is no different in that regard. We try to do our major fundraising locally and nationwide with our Christmas kettle campaign.
Anyone interested in volunteering to ring the bells for the Christmas kettles is encouraged to call the Salvation Army at 780-875-9166. As the temperatures continue to decrease, having proper clothing for bracing the cold is imperative. Our Callan Dunlap sat down with a student from Lakeland College who is hosting a clothing drive to ensure everyone is warm this winter.
Today I'm joined by Tamara, who is a Lakeland College student here in the border city, who is putting on a clothing drive. To start, can you talk to me a little bit about what you have planned?
So I just know that there's a need for winter clothing for the unhoused in Lloydminster, and I just felt like there was something that I could do. So I contacted my school and was able to get in touch with someone who helped me organize it.
After seeing there was a need in the community for this, what prompted you to go out and organize it?
It's just important to me that everyone is able to stay warm and safe over the winter. I think that if we have anybody who passes away over the winter due to being too cold, I think I would be pretty devastated. We work close with the unhoused, and there's a lot of relationships that are formed. So I think that it would be a pretty widespread devastation if somebody were to, freeze to death.
I also want to talk to you about your involvement with Lloydminster and Vermilion for Equity. Can you talk about how they're helping with the clothing drive?
So I started following them on Facebook a couple years ago, and then this year I'm starting school for social work. So I felt like it was important for me to get some more experience in the field, and I chose them because they stand for things that I believe in. And then I've been helping with meal prep, and then on Thursday I went out and did my first street team. So I went and helped hand out food and hygiene and harm reduction, and it was a really, really amazing experience, and I'm definitely going to be doing that again.
I'd like to speak on the clothing drive as a whole. For people who are listening who are interested in getting involved, how can they go about doing that?
Sure. So we have drop-off points at both of the campuses of Lakeland. I believe they're both in the libraries. I know for sure that the one in Lloyd is in the library, and I'm pretty sure the one in Vermilion is as well, but I'm not 100% certain on it. Then I can also like pick things up as well if somebody isn't able to bring it in. They could message us on Facebook, the Lloyd and Vermilion for Equity page, and then I would be able to arrange pickup.
Lastly, you've already touched on it a bit already, but this is just such a great thing that you're putting on. Can you talk a bit about your personal emotions tied towards this?
For sure. So I have had addiction problems in the past, and I have a lot of friends who have passed away from their addictions, and it's just something that is really, really important to me to be able to provide support to the people who need it the most. There's just so many, especially now that it's grown so much with the need for harm reduction, and especially here for like winter clothing and just things to keep these people safe. And that's just really important to me.
That covers all of my questions. Be sure to donate from the 18th to the 23rd. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to talk about this.
It's time now for a retrospect. Here's Nick Hott.
This week on Retrospect, we take you back to the Lloydminster Local Theatre in 1992, hitting record numbers for the movie Pure Country.
Can I help you?
Two for Pure Country, please.
Two for Pure Country. Welcome into it. $7, please.
Midwest residents are flocking in record numbers to see the new George Strait movie, Pure Country. It started as a limited engagement and may now run for as long as 4 weeks.
Our first week gross of Pure Country was the highest first week gross of this picture in all of Canada, and that includes Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, or Edmonton.
May says the audience is not necessarily made up of regular showgoers, but rather those with a special interest.
But I've seen the advertisement on TV and it looks good. Big George Strait fans. Can't wait.
I like George Strait. I've seen him down at Craven a couple of years ago.
Like a Pony Express in the Wild Wild West, I'll ride hard all night long.
The movie is about a country singer who gets fed up with the business and eventually falls in love, but the flick itself is falling at the box office everywhere else, and May attributes that to poor marketing.
For it to hold up the way it has, the picture has to be solid, but it needed a little bit extra special marketing, which it wasn't getting elsewhere.
Michael Higgins, NewsHour.
Next, we jump forward to the year 2000 to the opening of Jack Kemp Community School.
With that note, I officially open Jack Kemp Elementary School. This is a state-of-the-art facility, bar none in North America.
The best in multimedia equipment, an extensive library, expanded gymnasium, and spacious classrooms.
First, I must express my thanks to the Lloydminster School Board for the honor that they have accorded me.
School is a reflection of community pride and is suitably named after one of Lloydminster's pioneers, Jack Kemp.
There were all kinds of people, that they could have named the school after, which I mean, but the very fact that the board chose me, I really have to thank them for the honor that they've done.
This sign is a representation of community pride as well as hundreds of hours of community involvement. However, Jack Kemp Elementary School would not be here if it wasn't for the children.
We're looking at this school servicing a population of over 400 students in the very near future, and that's significant. That's young people, vibrant people, and it reflects the community because schools are the hub of the community.
The whole school is just superbly designed. It's been a great integrated effort from all.
I think it's a wonderful building.
The students are quick to agree.
My favorite part about the school is that it's new and you learn a whole bunch of new things. I like it because it's really fun. It's sort of a big opportunity that we have a huge school like this.
Price tag for this massive school is in the $7 million range, but it's money well spent.
Building is really, really good, and everything's working well, and the kids are really excited, so we're really happy.
And it is indeed a fitting reminder to all of us in the education community of the opening of young minds through education.
At Jack Kemp Elementary School, Anne-Marie Blackburn, NewsHour.
And that's all for this week of Retrospect.
Retrospect is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Find New Holland products at Webb's Machinery, your dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, Lamont, Wainwright, St. Paul, and Consulate.
I'm joined now here with Abby St. John, who's going to give us our first look at the weather. It's a little more of a cloudy day out today.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, I have a feeling we are officially in to those cold winter temperatures. We are below zero, and we're going to stay below zero all week. Currently, we are at -3, though, so not too bad, but we're still experiencing those. Most residents here are used to. The wind is also always usually some sort of factor in our temperature, and today not too bad, not as bad as we've definitely seen. 13-kilometer-per-hour winds, but it is making things feel a little bit chilly at around -7 with that wind chill. So, and that's kind of the trend we're going to see all week. We're going to see clouds, and we're going to see some snow as well. Current temperatures in Alberta similar to what we're seeing here, -3 in Wainwright, Vermilion, Marwayne, St. Paul, and Bonnyville, -4 in Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, and in Vegreville, -2 out in Edmonton and in, just in Edmonton. Provost had changed to -3. And then in Saskatchewan, -4 up in Isla Crosse, -3 in Pierceland, Green Lake, Meadow Lake, St. Walburg, and Maidstone, and -2 out in North Battleford and in Macklin. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, expect some snow to fall. This about 91% chance of some snow this evening, accumulating about 2 to 4 centimeters of that snow. Wind speeds are a factor at 20 kilometers per hour, and you will be sitting at -7 overnight tonight. So it is going to be quite chilly out, and there is that snow, so definitely take caution if you are going out. And into tomorrow as well, an 81% chance of some additional snow, which will accumulate an additional couple centimeters. Breezy in the afternoon. It's going to get up to 22 kilometers per hour and only a daytime high of -4, so it is going to be quite chilly out. Overnight tonight here in Cold Lake, it will be -8, low clouds in the sky, 15-kilometer-per-hour winds, not a huge chance of precipitation, which is nice, but there is about a 14% chance. And then into tomorrow, a daytime high of just -5, and expect cloudy conditions and windy conditions as well. 24-kilometer-per-hour winds is what it will get up to, so definitely bundle up if you're going outside. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to -9. It will be quite breezy, so the wind will start to pick up as we head into the evening. 19-kilometer-per-hour winds, about a 25% chance of precipitation. We have some snow slated for up until Wednesday, Thursday, and even into the weekend, so definitely be cautious about that, and it will remain quite cloudy. And then tomorrow, -9 at around 6 a.m., 15-kilometer-per-hour winds. It will be a cloudy day out tomorrow, -6 by noontime, and that wind will speed up to 22 kilometers per hour. -8 around 6 p.m. and again the wind will pick up to 24 kilometers per hour, and then it'll be around -11 by midnight. So it's not going to be too great of a day out tomorrow. It is going to be quite overcast. And then over the next 3 days, we are going to get up to a high of -5 for tomorrow and then a low of -15. So things are cooling off significantly as we head into the end of November and beginning of December. And then on Wednesday will be a high of -8, low of -11, and then on Thursday we have about a 41% chance of some snow in the morning with a high of -8 and a low of -12. So like I said, things are cooling off quite quickly, and we are experiencing some snowfall this week. That is a first look at your evening weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
The Lakeland Rustlers women's hockey team went into the weekend at a perfect 9-0 and were hoping to keep the perfect season going against the Red Deer Polytechnic Queens at the Russ Robertson Arena. Our Thomas Wildman has more on the game.
The Lakeland College Apex Automation Rustlers bested the Red Deer Polytechnic Queens at the start of the season to start off their winning streak. The Queens were hoping to put a stop to the Rustlers' winning ways. The Queens would strike first with a power play goal from Caden Smolin and would hold off the Rustlers to take a 1-0 lead heading into the second. The Rustlers were able to battle back with goals from Kylie Perry and Calla Campen in the second to take the lead, with an insurance goal by Janae Williams in the third to give them a 3-1 victory and giving them 10 straight wins on the season.
It feels really good, especially beating Red Deer. They're like at the top two, so it's nice to secure another win against them and just go into the new year with no losses, and it's super nice.
The team is making sure to focus on each day and not get distracted by the winning streak.
Yeah, just working hard in practice, like coming back from a weekend off, having 3 hard practices, working hard and doing our best day to day, trying to not worry about what's after Christmas, just looking at what's to come in next weekend and the weekends after.
Next up, the Rustlers will try and continue this winning streak when they take on the high-flying Nadukes. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, Local News.
The Nashville recording artist Robert Larrabee will be performing at the Moose Lodge on Saturday. Our Jackson Fontaine caught up with the administrator of the lodge to discuss the details.
So I'm once again back here at the Moose Lodge. It feels like I'm here every couple weeks. There's always something going on. I'm once again with Susan Culp, who is the administrator of the lodge. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks, Jackson.
So on Saturday, November 23rd, we have the Nashville recording artist Robert Larrabee coming to perform here. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about him?
Okay, so he will be here on the 23rd. Doors open at 4:30 for cocktails, supper at 5:30, and the show starts at 7. If you're only going to be coming to the show, seating for that starts at 7 o'clock.
Okay, and what are we kind of looking for supper? Is it going to be, what's the meal here?
Okay, we're serving roast beef with all the trimmings, mashed potatoes, gravy, carrots, so it should be a good meal.
Okay, so a pretty good meal. And how can people purchase tickets for this event?
Okay, so you can purchase tickets on Monday or Wednesday between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock here at the hall, or on Tuesday and Thursday between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock at the hall. Otherwise, you can give us a call, 780-875-7919 or 877-807-3251.
And for people looking for more information about the event, can they call those numbers as well?
Certainly, yes, you can call. And if no one answers right away, just wait and leave a message with us and we'll get back to you.
And if people are looking to have a really good time, is there any way people can be picked up, or is it kind of on your own?
Well, coming here is on your own. If you happen to have a little extra to drink, there will be rides home with cops, citizens on patrol. And they are, we've made arrangements for them to take anyone home that needs to have a ride home.
So after kind of the event, if people decide they want to go home, they'll kind of be already here waiting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. And where is this money going to be donating?
Okay, so the money will be going towards the lodge. We do need some repairs and stuff that need to be done, so that's where we're focusing our funds for that.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a great event. Robert Larrabee performing on this stage Saturday, November 23rd. Thanks for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you.
Now let's take a look at your pets of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
A Calgary-based author has released a new book. Stacey Comer caught up with him to find out more about the novel titled The Heart of New York.
Well, we have another author joining us today on Primetime Local News. Today I have Emil Wren speaking with me. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about the book of yours, your latest book. It is called Heart of New York. Tell me a little bit about the book.
It started as a personal challenge to myself. I started writing when I was 60, which is a very young age to start. And the first book I wrote was about a beautiful island called Cyprus in the Mediterranean during summer, a place I love to go, the people I love to meet. And it was something I always wanted to write, and I wrote it. So then I convinced myself that I could write other books. And I said to myself, before you do that, convince yourself that you can write. So what I did was I said to myself, choose the worst subject that you can think of to write about. If you can stick to it and write a book and you can sell it, then yes, you're a wonderful author and a writer and you're on your way. So the worst holiday I ever had was in New York in winter. Normally we go with the whole family because we don't have any relatives in Calgary. We were both immigrants, one from the Philippines, one from Africa. So we decided to go to the Bahamas every year. And that one year, my youngest son became a goth. He was a rapper, and he wanted to go to Harlem at Christmas time. So there we are, missing a wonderful summer break vacation from the winter in Calgary, and we ended up in New York. And I didn't like the place at all, and yet my whole view of New York completely turned around to what it was at the beginning. And so I wrote the book. A lot of people complained because a lot of my friends who I sent the book to were used to a travel log, beautiful scenery, warm weather, interesting people. My books are always about contrasting. So the contrasts I used in the book were the people I met in New York to the people I had in Calgary. But both locations were miserable and cold and wet during winter. And that brought out a whole lot of, instead of travelogues, it brought up a whole bunch of talking about values in people, looking at gray areas in life of morals, and how, when you read that book, how you put yourself into that position and choose what you think you would do in that situation. So at the beginning, I had all kinds of comments from my friends telling me to pack up and go home because why was this such a miserable story? Why was it so cold? Why are you writing about miserable New York in the middle of winter? Why are you writing about Calgary in winter? And they kept on at me. But then halfway through those stories, I sent them a chapter every time I did them. Halfway through that, one of them came to me. He spent half an hour criticizing one of my characters. Now I said, you don't like the book, you don't like the character. Why are you spending half an hour discussing this story? Well, because he did this wrong, he did that wrong. I said, now you understand what the book is about. It's not another travelogue. It's there putting you into a place where you have to make a decision of what you believe is right or wrong for yourself.
And so is it a collection of stories then, of different stories?
Yes, I'm very lazy, so I don't like writing more than 12 chapters. The 12 chapters weren't enough for a book, or even really, it was under 30,000 words, so it was for almost less than a novella. So I decided to use local people to draw, illustrate each chapter and the cover. Spent a lot of time on the cover, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I was extremely happy with it. So by the time we put the fillers in, I also do things like author's notes, which everybody criticized. So at the end of each chapter is a story of its own. But when they combine together, you can understand that it's a story. So when I started to do this, people complained, "Why are you doing an author's notes?" Now in my following books, they keep asking for the author's notes, and the author's notes were really things like why I wrote the story, why was it important to me, and what happened to some of the characters that were in that story, and what happened to them in the end. So that's what I've done. So I've got illustrations, I've got quotes from the book from the illustrator who never read books, but he loved this book, and he did all those, or she loved this book and did all the illustrations for it, and that's what the story is about.
And so what is next then? Are you going to continue to do this style of writing, or have you decided where you go after here?
Oh no. Since my father worked on the airlines and he would send me free airline tickets to travel all over the world. So I went on my own since the age of 12. None of my family had any money. I get a wad of tickets. I get a little bag full of clothes that will be put into, not into the hole, but carry with me as cabin luggage. And I didn't know where I was going to go. One, I'd have a ticket to go to Mexico. I have a ticket to go to Russia. I'd have a ticket somewhere else. Whatever came, I went there. So I've been to a lot of countries, and now I'm being able to write about them. And originally, the books were written to be able to inspire my kids, because my kids had a very um, comfortable and safe environment. They were born in Calgary. They never really left Calgary. Went abroad with us when we traveled every summer. And so they never really had any kind of a hard life. I was taken out. My parents divorced when I was 4 out of Africa. My mum couldn't speak English. She brought me over to England. I spent my time with an English foster parent. And so I had all kinds of obstacles to get through in life. And I wanted them to understand that that was the history.
Well, this is a fascinating book, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the future. If people are looking to purchase it and look at more of your work, Emil, where do they find it?
emilrem.ca, emilrem.ca, and they should go to the Analect section. There's a pop-up, which is really my blogs on topics I write every week, and they should subscribe for a free chapter when the pop-up comes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll be chatting with you again sometime soon.
I really appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Coming up after the break, Abby St. John will give us another look at your weather.
Taking a final look at our evening weather forecast. Unfortunately, we are heading into those below zero temperatures. It is currently -3, feels closer to -7 with that wind chill. 11-kilometer-per-hour winds, not as windy as it will be tomorrow. It is going to be quite breezy tomorrow, so keep that in mind. And we did have a relatively cloudy day out, which is also what we're going to see throughout this week. Current temperatures in Alberta, -4 in Cold Lake and Whitecourt, also out in Jasper, -2 in Red Deer, Rocky Mount House and Edmonton, -1 in Edson, and -3 in Athabasca. And in Saskatchewan, -3 in Meadow Lake, -2 in Prince Albert and North Battleford, -1 in Saskatoon and in Melfort. And then up north in Saskatchewan, -9 in Uranium City, -6 in Stony Rapids, -7 in Wollaston Lake and South End, -1 in Flin Flon, and -4 in La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. In Alberta, -13 in Fort Chipewyan, -12 in High Level, -6 out in Fort Mac and Grand Prairie, -9 in Peace River, and Slave Lake is sitting at -3. Down south in Alberta, -3 in Coronation and Calgary, -2 in Banff, 0 in Lethbridge, and +1 in Medicine Hat. And in Saskatchewan, above 0, which is nice to see, -1 in Kindersley, and then above 0, 1 degrees in Yorkton, 2 in Swift Current and Regina, 4 in Moose Jaw, and 3 out in Estevan. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, it will be -7 overnight tonight and about a 91% chance of a couple of flurries, followed by snow at times later on tonight. It is accumulating about 2 to 4 centimeters, so definitely proceed with caution, and wind speeds will be quite windy at 20 kilometers per hour. Overnight tonight in Cold Lake, not a huge chance of any precipitation, which is nice, but it will be quite cloudy with low clouds in the sky, 15-kilometer-per-hour winds, and the temperature will be at around -8. And then more overnight temperatures across the region, -9 in Meadow Lake, Isle Cross, and Paradise Hill, -10 in Bonnyville, and -7 out in Provost. And not a huge chance of precipitation in those areas, and those winds aren't too bad. It is picking up in Paradise Hill at around 19 kilometers per hour, but for the most part, it will be cloudy. And then if we take a look more overnight temperatures, -9 in Murnum and Pierceland, Wainwright and in Calgary, and -8 out in Unity. And in Unity, there's about a 65% chance of a little snow early on, and it will be quite windy, 20 kilometers per hour. And in Calgary, there's about a 65% chance of a few flurries as well. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to -9. Wind speeds will pick up to about 19 kilometers per hour this evening. Otherwise, it will remain quite cloudy. There is, however, a 25% chance of some precipitation. Not huge, but it is still there. And then over the next 7 days here in the border city, not looking too great for our highs. High of -5 and a low of -15 for tomorrow. On Wednesday, expect lower clouds in the sky, but it will be quite cold. High of -8, low of -11. On Thursday, we get a bit of sun. However, we do have about a 40% chance of morning flurries with a high of -8, low of -12. On Friday, again, we get a little bit of sun, but a high of -9, low of -12. On Saturday is when we get more snow, a 62% chance with a high of -7, low of -12. And then a high of -9 on Sunday with a little bit more snow predicted as well with a low of -16. And that will be the case also when we get back on Monday after the weekend. It will be the same. So we are heading into those cold temperatures. We'll see those highs be below 0 and cooler, and unfortunately we will be getting that snow here soon starting Thursday. I know we've already experienced some, and there's some blizzards slated near Manitoba and Saskatchewan, so I wouldn't be shocked if they came our way too.
Yeah, it definitely seems like now winter seems to be officially kind of underway here. Yeah. I'm going to have to grab the boots out of the closet and grab the shovel too maybe here.
Absolutely.
So that's all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks for joining us.